Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, yesterday, the Lakers did lose another road game against the Memphis Grizzlies. End our road trip 1-4. Of course, there was no Rui or Anthony Davis, so we had to kind of make do. And Koloko made his debut look pretty good. Got a block out there. The only block of our entire team was that Koloko block. We didn't get a single other block in the game, and that is kind of what I'm thinking about at the moment. We really do need to address our rim protection situation. Hopefully, Koloko can help with that. But I don't want us to have such high hopes for Koloko, especially since he's fresh off a very long injury, that we put him out there and expect that he's gonna, just turn into a world beater. We really do need to up our talent level there. Jackson Hayes, we need to upgrade from Jackson Hayes, and I'm excited about what I'm seeing from Cam Reddish. Not only because he's helping the team in some areas that we really need, but because he's one of the few people that's actually raising his trade value. I don't know that he's where we want him to be as it pertains to us getting anything real for him, but at least I can look at him and say, okay, if he keeps this up, he's a legitimate person that we can throw into a trade to get some things that maybe we need. Or he can just continue playing like this and he could turn into that player that's providing us more of what we need, because he is a good defensive player. And this is kind of what I had in mind when I said about 3 weeks ago that I think his piece could potentially make more sense this year than it did last year. And he can make his money on the defensive end. This is kind of what I was thinking. What he's doing right now, rebounding the ball, getting steals, contributing in the scoring column where he can. And the three balls fell last night a couple times, so we were really happy with that. But his piece makes more sense because it seems like, to me, we have more defensive deficiency players on the floor at any given moment. We still have the backcourt issue defensively. And it just seems like they're with the absence of Taurean Prince, the absence of Spencer Dinwiddie, who helped us defensively. You really need Cam Reddish even more to help with the defensive issues. And I think we're seeing that. And then furthermore, we're seeing him play the way that I kind of had in mind. So his piece is making more sense for our roster this year. And it's, we went through some early struggles, and, now that we're in a good stretch with him, it's very good to see. So that's throughout the course of these losses during this horrible road trip. I think maybe the most positive thing we've taken from the road trip is that we can use Cam Reddish. We can use him. JJ Redick has learned to trust Cam Reddish in a way that I don't think he did before this season. So that is extremely encouraging for our team, defensive deficient team. Offensively, we had 113 points, which is actually okay, but when you give up 133 or whatever it was, that's really bad. D'Lo Russell played a lot worse than I thought he did. That's one thing I can amend from last night's reaction. I thought he had 17 points. He ended up with 12. So, the struggles were there for real, as they have been all season long. And the inefficiency, I think it was 2 of 9 from behind the arc for him and Austin, if I'm not mistaken. That's not cutting it. We need them to play better. And I feel like a broken record saying that. We really have guard issues, Lakers. I mean, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we have significant guard issues. Our guards are not playing well. They're not playing well, and I don't know how much I can contribute that to each and every one of those guards, or is it JJ's not showcasing them in a way that allows them to play great? I don't know. I really don't know, but that's where our team is glaring at the moment. Guards up and down the roster are giving us less than what we need from them. And so that's really where I think the Lakers need to try to improve this roster. We need to improve this roster, and I don't think that all of our guards are just incapable of playing well, or incapable of being showcased better, or incapable of being traded. I don't think that we have guards that people just are gonna, put up the fingers crossed, like, oh my God, the vampire cross. You know what I'm saying? Dropping my phone trying to do it. But I don't think people are going to do that with all of our guards. I think some people would imagine they can get more out of our guards than we can, and that's kind of a theme here. When you look at what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing with our players, I don't know that those players look as good in this system. I'm not sure those players are not struggling bad over here. And, you start to look at it that way and say, are we utilizing players properly? Will the players we trade for, if we're able to make a trade, come here and struggle significantly while they're looking pretty good wherever they're at right now? Like, this is something we need to really ask. We need to know that we're not the problem as it pertains to what we're running and how we're running things. And the system and the rotation around Bron and AD, these guys rotating around these players, is that the issue, And so one thing I know for sure is that we have a different coach this year and some of the same problems. So it has to be a mainstay to the roster itself that is the problem in regards to showcasing players that look good elsewhere but can't seem to get things going for us. And I look at my, some of the players we've seen on this road trip. A guy like Malik Beasley, he looks good in Detroit. He looked pretty good in Milwaukee in the first half of the season. So long as they're not asking him to play any defense. Couldn't hit a shot with us. I'm wondering if we're going to end up trading Gabe Vincent, and then he gets where he's going. He looks like Gabe Vincent from Miami again. Jalen Hood-Schifino looks so bad for us. You put him on a different team, now all of a sudden he starts showing the upside that you drafted him to have. You trade Max Christie to another team, all of a sudden Max Christie's producing. This is something that's starting to really cross my mind here. I'm really thinking that might be what the dynamic is, because everybody is playing so damn bad. You know what I mean? It's like, are they the problem, or is it something that we got going on that's making it so that everybody sucks in our uniform? So that's something that I don't want to rule out, man. We mess around, make a trade, throw in second-round picks and first-round picks to bring guys here because we're so unhappy about players who aren't playing well, only to bring those players here and their value drops too. I don't want to not consider that. I don't want that to not be part of our conversation here. So, yeah, man, that's what I want to say. Hopefully we can find a way to remedy this problem, man, so that we don't find ourselves bottoming out in the standings. We're already a 500 ball club after starting 3-0. We were the best team in the Western Conference at just the beginning of this road trip, and now, I haven't looked at the standings as it pertains to our seeding, but I'd imagine we're somewhere in the play-in tournament or something like that. I mean, everything's very sensitive in the Western Conference, and teams have gotten better. You look at what the Golden State Warriors look like right now. I don't know if that's sustainable, but they sure are red hot, man. They sure are red hot. They beat a Boston team that was a bit shorthanded, but they went in there and they got the victory, and that's not an easy thing to do this season, to say the least. So, I'm looking around and I'm saying the Western Conference, some of the teams that we thought were going to be really good are really good. Some of the teams we thought weren't going to be really good are really good. So it's like we need to get our act together, or we're going to end up looking as bad as I thought we would look before the season started. I told people I didn't think we were in the top 12. And that sounded like an extreme exaggeration at the beginning of this road trip. But by the time, the game sounded off at the end last night, it kind of evened out to what it is that I was worried about, which is that our bench is going to eat away at our ability to stay healthy. Our starting unit would ultimately start losing guys, and that's really what's happening, man. That's really what's happening. AD and this foot thing, I know he's going to try to bull through it, but I do not play around with AD's health. I don't care how much he's shown me in the last 2 years about being durable. I know better than to toy with him when it comes to his health. I still want the Lakers to sit him in the Philly game. It's bad as he was hobbling in that what was it? The Detroit game? I don't want to see him for at least another week, if I'm being honest with you. I don't. I think he should sit. I think he should let that thing heal some. I think that soreness needs to go away because we rely upon him far too much for our success, and we literally can't win without him. So we might as well just punt a few losses. I think the Philly game you might still be able to win as poorly as they've been displaying themselves without Joel. They're not even constructed properly to kind of be without Joel. So we might have an actual chance of stealing a victory without AD in that one, or at least keep the game extremely respectable so long as we continue to get as much out of Bron as we did and get Rui back. Hopefully he'll feel better. But, AD, he's so important that I don't want him to feel even the slightest bit of discomfort. Because if he does, and it begets more trouble physically for him, boy, are we going to find out how bad of a roster we are without him. Philly style, just like them, we're just like that. Philly has won 1 out of 7 games at the bottom of the Eastern Conference without Joel Embiid. I think we're going to be just as bad, if not worse. Probably worse. Truthfully, I don't. That Golden State game that we had in the preseason showed me exactly how bad our others are. A bad. So, you're talking about giving Atlanta the first overall pick type bad if AD goes down for the season. So, I don't want to leave any room for that to be possible if we can control him not trying to overcompensate in pain. I've seen guys overcompensate, trying to hurry back from injuries, end up hurting something else. I don't want to go down that path with Anthony Davis. It's far too important for our season and for our franchise health that his health be on point. So that's really what it is, man. But all in all, the Los Angeles Lakers are a struggling ball club. We really do need to run into a Philly team that can't seem to get a win. And hopefully in running into them, we will find a way to get one, even if AD is not out there. And, I saw JJ Redick's press conference. He seemed rather frustrated, you know what I mean? And, it's one of those situations where he wants to motivate guys, but he also wants to be honest with guys. And, these are the times where you could lose people. Especially a guy like D'Lo whose personality is a bit different, you know what I mean? You could lose him quick. And so I would just tell JJ, man, just do the best you can. Do the best you can, because trying to tell the truth about certain guys, you don't know how they're going to react to that. Calling out certain guys, they don't really react well to that. And he's new to this. He's never coached. So this is going to be a learning experience, and hopefully he doesn't lose that locker room. So that's really a thing. I think that, that was my concern with JJ, not the X's and O's, but the management of people. And how he's going to come off when he's unhappy, and how he's going to come off when he's frustrated. That's where I think he could really maybe end up failing. But we'll see. We will see. Whatever the case may be, I'm glad he's getting something out of Cam Reddish, but everybody else seems to be playing worse under him, and we need to, find ways of getting them looking like they did in the first 3 games of the season. And so that's really what it comes down to. I think we are in a space where Max Christie is starting to look a little better, and mention him right now, I just don't think it's the right idea. Accepting his limitations as a dribbler, as a passer, as a player finishing through contact and absorbing contact and maneuvering in midair, those are not strengths of his, man. He's not that guy. He's not doing the up and under twirl around layups and stuff like that. He's going up, coming down. And so these things about Max Christie are going to have to be absorbed and respected. He's kind of straight line side to side, not really wiggly. But defensively, he can help you in some very key areas. His three-point shot, his form is pretty good. And he projects to be somebody who's going to be able to shoot someday. So we just got to let Max Christie work and be attentive on telling him where his mistakes are, sitting down with him, watching film on himself, and learning where he needs to change his decision making for the better in certain cases. So I think that's going to be a task of this coaching staff, to really zero in on Max Christie, work with Max Christie, play Max Christie, and don't get overly decisive when it comes to him struggling versus how much minutes he should receive. That has been the problem. I've said that more than once as of late. The problem has not been anything other than people not playing Max Christie enough and not allowing him to go against high enough level talent and to get used to that. And that's what it is. People keep cutting his minutes. His development further delays. That needs to stop. I need Max Christie to get all the minutes that you would give him if you had faith in him, because if he doesn't start getting those minutes, he's going to permanently be a player that doesn't play well. You got to catch a guy early, and you got to give him what you got to instill in him what you want there, or it won't be there. So that's really what it is. If they don't get this right with Max Christie, it will be one of the worst things for our franchise. It will be one of the worst things for our franchise. So that's on them. That's on the coaching staff. They must work with him. Don't be afraid to develop players, man. That's where the Lakers are going wrong. I was listening to a podcast last night. It's like we're doing all the best acquiring talent that can really go. Prospects, identifying diamonds in the rough, identifying players that have a lot of upside. We have a great scouting team. But if we don't develop players and if we don't invest in our development process, we're going to continue to be giving away these nice prospects to teams at a low discount like we've been doing, or not even a discount, just letting them go out into the wild because we think they suck, only for them to go to other teams and play well. We need to learn that we're the problem in regards to that, because we're getting all these good guys, but we're not developing them. We're not giving them opportunities, and a lot of these things have to do with common sense decisions. Same thing I'm saying about Quincy Olivari right now. I think Quincy Olivari is another one of those gems they found. I think Trey Orry is another one of those gems that they found. But are we giving these guys minutes? No. I'm sitting up here, I'm watching Gabe Vincent run around. I don't need to see Gabe Vincent run around. He ain't doing nothing for my team. That should be Quincy Olivari getting meaningful minutes, playing up the value that the scouts see that he could play up, but that our organization is not able to get out of these guys. And it starts here. It's organizational decisions, man. Have we not had enough people like myself point out so many different mistakes in this way? Because it's all over the internet. Everybody's saying pretty much the same thing. The Lakers need to get out of these players what Memphis is getting out of these players. What other teams are getting out of our guys? Everybody leaves us and plays better. At what point in time are we going to start taking accountability for that? Our scouts are bringing us great players. They are not the problem. In fact, they're the best thing we got going for ourselves. But as long as we continue to, wet the bed in regards to development of talent, we're always going to lose stuff that's going to end up elsewhere playing better and making us look foolish. And so that's really what we learned last night, that a lot of the problem is us and our attention to detail in regards to development and our willingness to be patient with players as they develop in our uniform around LeBron and Anthony Davis. I think Jalen Hood-Schifino is probably going to turn into something. I don't doubt that. He's a product of all of these problems and people giving up on him and letting him go somewhere else, and he's going to turn into somebody as soon as he gets there. This is not something that we should even expect otherwise at this point. So that's where I'm at, man. I'm very unhappy with that, the results of how that's turned out in so many different areas all over the place. The Lakers got to get their act together, and the development department needs to be invested in heavily. Jeannie, get your development department in order, because your scouts are bringing you the best stuff, and it's not turning into crap when it gets here, and that is our fault as an organization. So that's really what I got to say, man. I'm very attentive to this problem going forward, and I don't believe that the prospects we have are just not good enough. It's us. Jalen ain't trash. He came here and then became what it is that couldn't perform. He's going to go somewhere else and look good, and it's going to be our fault for letting it happen. Just like it's been our fault everywhere else you see it. So enough of that, Lakers. Do something about that. Do something about that. Fix that problem, please. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much what I want to say. I'm going to sit down and eat. But if we don't address our development issue, we're going to continue to have this problem. Our scouts are going to bring us great stuff. That stuff is going to go elsewhere. Play great. BDL 44. I thank y'all for watching. Out.